So in the past few hours, Chase Claypool got traded away from the Chicago Bears to the Miami Dolphins for I believe the Dolphins had to move from a 6th-round pick to a 7th-round pick, so the Bears went from a 7th to a 6th. And so Chase Claypool doesn't even spend a year in Chicago, and the Packers are somewhat related to this story just because if you look to last year, the Packers were reported to be one of the teams to have offered a 2nd-round pick for Chase Claypool. And at that time, the Packers were somewhat struggling on offense. Aaron Rodgers was still the quarterback, and making a move for a receiver made some kind of sense. And now it's looking like the Packers, really got lucky here not having the Steelers accept the trade because things did not go well for Claypool in Chicago. And now he is headed to Miami. And so the Packers, luckily, were able to use their 2nd-round picks on Luke Musgrave, Jaden Reed. And that could have gone much worse if we had actually given away a 2nd-round pick for Chase Claypool. And so Brian Gutekunst has to be, feeling somewhat good right now that the Steelers didn't really accept that trade. And if you're Chicago, it's unfortunate for Chicago, obviously. They send a 2nd-round pick in the hopes that, okay, maybe if we add a guy who is somewhat talented, Justin Fields can play a lot better. And Claypool and the Bears just didn't go well together. Claypool, I think, had 140 receiving yards last season when he came to Chicago, and this year he has not played well, and he obviously got frustrated with what the Bears how they were using him because he was asked a couple weeks ago and by a reporter, do you think the Bears are putting you in the best position to succeed? And he said, nope. And so from that point on, the Bears make him inactive, and he doesn't play those 2 games, and sort of seems to force his way out of Chicago because you don't want to keep a guy there who is outwardly saying, the coaches aren't using me well. That's not the kind of that locker room guy you want to have there when he's saying those kinds of things. And so if you're the Packers, you have to be sitting back going, whew, we got out of that one. Thank goodness. The Packers could have easily traded for him. At the time, I think I would have been happy for trading for Claypool just because you look at his first 2 years with the Steelers, he had about 800 receiving yards each year and looked like a pretty solid receiver. And so the Packers seemingly were fine bringing him in, and maybe it would have gone better with Claypool in Green Bay. Probably would have gone better with Aaron Rodgers as his quarterback as opposed to Justin Fields last year, who was struggling a lot. And the thing I wonder about Claypool is, sure, when he's in the best possible situation, he seems to do well his first 2 years with Ben Roethlisberger. But then there were reports coming out when he got traded from Pittsburgh that he was unhappy, according to Josina Anderson, that the Steelers were not really seeing him as that number 1 guy with George Pickens expected to get more usage. So he leaves there frustrated. He now leaves the Bears frustrated. But now he is in Miami. They are winning. They're the best offense in the league. So maybe that winning, doesn't lead to him getting frustrated and forcing himself out of there. He probably likes the situation he's in now, even though he's no longer going to be, one of those top receivers because they got Waddle, they have Tyreek Hill. So at best, he's going to be their 3rd receiver. And I think if you're the Dolphins, I think it's a fine move because it's a low risk, medium reward type of move where if Claypool can be the guy he was in Pittsburgh early in his career, that's a pretty solid trade. You're not really giving up much at all, moving from a 6th-round pick to a 7th-round pick. So all in all, interesting. The Bears, losing a 2nd-round pick, losing Chase Claypool, and they sort of just had to cut their losses with how he was acting there these past few weeks. But just wanted to share that video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.